Now you all know rope Sirsasana, but let me review it. Maybe you don't all know. First of all, when you tie, let me show the knot tying. I know all of you know, but I want to review. So you take the rope, and it's in my neck and shoulder book, clearly, because a lot of people still don't tie the rope correctly. You sling it through the upper rope, the lower rope through the upper rope. The shorter one is the lower rope. And then it goes through the knot, the handle of the rope goes through the neighboring upper rope, because I've seen people tie it here. You can, there's other variations, but this is the basic. And then this is the bunny rabbit. Isn't it cute? It goes around the tree into the bunny hole on its own self. And then you pull it tight. I like the thick edges of the blankets in the middle, so it's a nice smooth support. There's other ways you can wrap the blanket around you and tie a belt. Okay, this is nice and thick for people. Let me have another blanket. And Jerry, can you get the green soft block? Now, if you know somebody's tight, you get this 3-fold blanket ready, and I could do it myself. So let me show how I do it myself, because you're adept. And you know, if your student isn't good at it, you can be there with this 3-fold blanket. So I have the 3-fold blanket. What people try to do when they start to go up is they try to sit on the rope. And maybe that could work, but it's a lot harder. You just lean back on the rope. So you get leverage, and then you climb up. Now, some people have long legs. They can just take one foot on the hook. But if you're short like me, I can't. Okay? So I take one foot on the wall, and I'm leaning back. I take the other foot. Now I can reach the hook. Okay? I can reach the hook with my feet. I could put the blanket across the thighs. Now I have to hold my hands high. This is the hard part for students. They start to straighten the legs. They start to do everything but what you want them to do. You have to get them to hold the hands high. If you try to lift yourself up from here, you don't have a chance. You have to hold the rope high so you can drop the rope. You have to lift up from the rope. So you can drop it to your tailbone, just like you would use a strap for Supta Baddha Konasana, low at the tailbone. Then I climb my feet up, and you have to make sure it stays between the rope and the wall. This is where you really have to watch your students. And then I join my feet to Baddha Konasana. Okay? And then, now if a student is afraid, a lot of times, can you stand in front of me? You know, they're like, oh, you know, they're shaking. No, I stand back. I don't want to give them too much help. You know, I say, go down, go, okay, you can reach my leg. You know, they're happy they'll grab your leg. Okay? And then, well, if you can't, you know, you can put a bolster. But if they hold on to something, they'll feel better. It's like, there's a rule for mountain climbing. Always have 3 limbs with contact on that mountain. You know, they could. Okay? So they'll feel better with contact. Okay? Now let me just, where's that nice block? This is good to put, this is great behind the tailbone. I've got it, yeah. Well, it's a little off center, but okay. So I'm pushing the block up, and the tailbone goes up. You're giving some more stability to the tailbone for the spine and the brain to balance, and this feels wonderful. Now, let me have, so you come up. You might have to help them by lifting their shoulders. You walk the hands up high. You press the feet onto the wall, and take a breath here. Because when you're in rope Sirsasana, your heart rate actually drops lower. You know, it really can lower the blood pressure. It can really lower your heart rate. So this doesn't affect us, but new students, when they start to come out, that blood pressure is so low and they come up, they could, you know, it could drop too low. So you should have them stop here, straighten the legs, and take a breath. They can do it because they have the leverage. I've seen even, you know, beginners do it. So you take a breath and then hold the rope. As you climb down, hold the rope still, get the upper arms lower than the chest and rest the forehead on the wall. So you equilibrate the blood pressure, okay? Most of us don't have to do that, especially if you're only holding for 5 minutes. Longer, you will have to do it. Don't have the student walk away and get down on the floor and do Adho Mukha Svanasana because their blood pressure still hasn't equilibrated. It can equilibrate upright. If you start to move them around and their blood pressure is, erratic, you're asking for trouble. Now I need a volunteer, and I need a Setu Bandha bench, the narrow. No, it's too high. But actually what's nice, don't bring your head to the box. Can I have a head wrap? You can also support the top of the head too, to get the brain quiet. And if it was Cancer, she's actually on the floor easily. Take the hands down and reach the arms to the sides the same way. Okay, maybe just, yeah, for one hand. And yeah. Yeah, turn it the other way, just so. How does that feel? Yeah, feels good. She can even take the legs Upavista. The starfish. Now leg pits and armpits are open. Okay. And then Yelena.
One more bolster.
She's going to get in. Yeah, we're going to need 3 bolsters actually and a blanket. Yeah. Now, especially for high blood pressure, or like in my cancer book, the student with the brain, once she's getting in, then I can quick start to slip these bolsters. It's much more complicated, though. You might need 2 people. Well, this isn't really high enough. Hold the rope again just for a sec. Whoops. Let's get 2. And then, well, that might work. A pranayama pillow. So I'm thinking, like I saw where the bolsters didn't really work out. I'm thinking of the shape and then the prop. So it's not always the same. Can you lift your shoulders? Well, she can lift herself. Okay, so let's open the chest more. Now a blanket. Ah, yeah. Lift the head, though. We want even. Yeah, but better if you hold the hands and keep the collarbones wide. You can hold, but just keep the collarbones wide. So the chest is more open, okay? And this is also good for eye problems. Better they use a head wrap, but this can be for somebody who may be having a problem with their retina, okay, or glaucoma. When there's pressure here, there should be no pressure. And if it doesn't work, you take them down. If they feel pressure, they know what it feels like. You say, are you okay? Is the head feeling okay? And if it's okay, then they're good. Always ask the student, are you okay? Because a lot of times in the class, in the therapy class with your student subjects this week, you've come to me and said, well, I put them in this, is it right or whatever? I said, did you ask them? Are they okay? And they didn't, so I go over there and I ask them, are you okay? Yeah, okay, she's fine. How does that feel?
It's nice.
It's nice. So this is useful for a lot of brain conditions. Okay. Now, again, it depends on that person. If they have a hyperkyphosis of the thoracic spine, this is not the pose. What would be good poses? No, just in general. Twists. They've got to get some mobility in their, not just the spine, but the ribs, the tissue. The back has to go in. There's so many more variations of this pose, of the rope Sirsasana, but at least do this much. So this would be more if somebody's, recovering from cancer, and they're opening their armpit leg pits, and they've been a practitioner before. It's not for everyone, okay? You have to look at somebody's body. Don't just think, oh, let's hang you upside down this way. Some people have backache. They can't open. In which case you have to use the plank. Somebody do that if they have backache. I'm going to take a picture of this too. Because they look beautiful. lift them up, help them push away from the wall. And it's usually not this easy, and then they can step to the side, or we can kick the bolsters away, take a breath, and then step down and rest the forehead. That's it. And I always have a hand on them, you know, in case they're going to collapse, which I don't want you to be afraid of this, but it's always good to be there and be ready for anything to happen. Okay, and you can also, she doesn't have to come down. Tongue. Hands higher, press the feet, take a breath. You're okay, step down, still hold the rope.